Goel sir. This is called waiting for Godot.
Today, in the media conference with Lal Goel, which is brought to you by V4 News, Global TV, V4 Stream, Malnadu TV India, News Gaon Se, Samvad Sarokar News, Organ Donation India Foundation and Gyan. Our endeavor is to enlighten you with a new topic. But today, we are inviting you to attend the launch of Leadership Series. Today is a very special day for media conference with Lal Goel and Global TV. Today, we are formally launching 2 TV shows in Leadership Series. Both the TV episodes are presenting role models, achievers, and passionate visionaries for the purpose of inspiring youngsters and the young in the mind. One program is in English and the other one in Hindi. The English series, known as Unique Interactions with Tom Sarek, English episodes are released on Global TV platform every Saturday at 4 p.m. IST. This program is designed and conducted by Mr. Tom Sarek, who is a passionate communicator. Mr. Tom is based at Muscat, Oman, and himself a leader in many areas. Mr. Tom has taken up this being a social responsibility, pleasant engagement. The other episode, that is Hindi episodes, are conducted by myself, Lal Goel. The program is in Hindi known as Kal Aaj aur Kal Lal Goel Ke Sang. This is an everyday live program on Global TV, V4 News, V4 Stream, News Gaon Se, and Samvad Sarokar News at 4:30 p.m. IST. When we talk about leadership, we have to understand about the leader. A leader is someone who can see how things can be improved and who rallies people to move towards that better vision. Leaders can work toward making their vision a reality while putting people first. Just being able to motivate people is not enough. Leaders need to be empathetic and connect with people to be successful. I personally feel that to connect the leaders with youth, these 2 series in Hindi and English will be a milestone in the history of media. The term media describes the various ways through which we communicate in society. These 2 leadership series will definitely play an important role in communicating the leader's vision to the masses, especially youth. Today, when world is in the grip of pandemic, these two series will definitely play an important role in inspiring the youth for by viewing the achievements and leadership quality of the role models. My experience in media conference with Lal Goel of more than 15 months is that people wants to know the views and vision of the achievers. They are fed up with tutu meme media. I am sure you all will give similar or more love and affection to these two new series as you have given to media conference with Lal Goel. I want to put on records my sincere appreciation to Mr. Envy Pulse, Chairman Global TV, who is the brain behind all these series. Now, we have to launch this leadership series, and I would like to invite the chief guest of today's program. He is Dr. C.V. Anand Bose, IAS. Dr. C.V. Anand Bose, IAS is one-man expert commission on labor to prepare an action plan for the welfare and development of the workforce in the context of COVID-19. He is also the principal advisor, Government of India Heritage Project. He was former head of disaster management, Government of India, and Central Draft Relief Commissioner, Government of India. He was the vice chancellor of National Museum, University of Delhi. He has authored 40 books in English, Malayalam, and Hindi, including novels, short stories, and essays. 4 of his books have become bestsellers. 4 books on Vastu and architecture and 1 book on housing received prestigious the Sharjah International Book Fair Award. Dr. Bose is a housing expert, innovator, writer, orator, and visionary. The path-breaking institutions set up by him, such as Nirmiti Kendra, Building Center, District Tourism Council, and Habitat Alliance, have been replicated at the state, national, and global level. He was the head of the prestigious Supreme Court Committee on the Treasures of Sri Padmavaswamy Temple. Dr. Bose addressed United Nations General Assembly and specialized sessions 5 times on various international issues. Dr. Bose is a recipient of 31 national and international awards, including United Nations Global Best Practice Award. He also received prestigious Jawaharlal Nehru Fellowship. Kerala government termed him Lord of Ideas. Former Prime Minister Mr. Manmohan Singh called him inspired civil servant, and our Honorable Prime Minister Mr. Modi called him Man of Ideas. Welcome, Dr. C.V. Anand Bose, on our show. Dr. Bose, today you are the chief guest, and you being associated with a media conference with Lal Goel for almost a year now. Every week you are coming and giving your views. So I think that you are the best person to launch our program and 2 series which we are launching. One is in English and one is in Hindi. So Dr. C.V. Anand Bose to inaugurate the formal launch of leadership series. Dr. C.V. Anand Bose, please.
Thank you, Mr. Goel. Thank you, Mr. Paul. This is a landmark event which is being launched here today in the presence of the distinguished panelists. Well, about the media conference itself, some cynic has defined conference is a group of persons who individually can do nothing, but collectively can sit together and decide that nothing can be done. But media conference with Lal Goel has been an exception to this. This I can say with honest sentiments because I have been a participant in this series for a quite long time. Now, who is leader? I don't want to give a definition, textbookish definition of this. I think a leader is one who knows the way, who shows the way, who goes the way. He should be able to distinguish between the difference between what you think you are, what others think you are, and what you really are. There is a hiatus among these 3. A leader is one who is able to know this basic difference in perception and in reality. What are the qualities of a leader? Again, I don't want to give a textbook definition of this. Mr. Goel has said during his presentation that a leader should have vision. Yes, I think vision and action are equally important. If you have vision without action, there is no result. If there is action without vision, it can be counterproductive. Before anybody sets out for any venture, everything is born twice. First in your mind and then in the field. That is why Milton says, the mind can make a heaven of hell or a hell of heaven. Yes, vision precedes action. Look at the great masters. Before Shakespeare dipped his pen in ink, he had a vision of what Macbeth or Othello, or as we like it, or any of his great dramas are. And before Michelangelo dipped his brush in paint, he had a vision of what the day of the judgment should be, which is depicted on the Sistine Chapel. Any revolution, take it, the French Revolution, the American Revolution, the October Revolution, or the greatest of the great revolutions, the bloodless revolution, India's freedom struggle. Everything began as a result of a vision of somebody or a group of persons. Yes, before, see, any great leader launches any scheme, any project, before it catches the attention of the people, there is a vision behind it. Yes, vision should precede action. Even God had a vision before he created the universe. In the Bible, it is said, in the beginning was the Word. The Word was with God, and the Word was God. Yes, in the beginning, there was a vision of God. When God said, let there be light, light there was. Before light was born, God had a vision of what light should be. Now, action without vision can be counterproductive. We all know the great Gurkha regiment of the British Army, very reputed regiment. Recently, it was disbanded for political and financial reasons. See, they had a benchmark. First, obey, and then complain. Anything will there be implicit obedience from the Gurkha regiment. Once during the World War, the British commandant told the Gurkha chief, tomorrow, you and your people will have to jump from a height of 6,000 feet from the air. Then for the first time, the Gurkha chief asked a counter question. Can the height be reduced to 3,000 feet? Surprised, the British commandant asked him, what difference does it make? You're jumping from a parachute. With a demure smile, the Gurkha chief said, oh, I didn't know that there will be a parachute. That is action without vision, implicit obedience. That also has got a niche in the management theory and practice. Now, there are people who question even the greatest of great visions, God's own vision in creating the universe. I remember in my school, we had the aspirants with us. Aspirants are those who are studying for priesthood. In the local school, they also study with us. Most of them are very docile, very obedient, very quiet and calm persons. But we had one or two aspirants with us who are very boisterous, very defiant and rebellious. Father William, the Father Superior, he will lecture to them. Every instance he will say, this justifies the ways of God to man. So anything and everything he will say, whatever God does is justified. One of these naughty aspirants, he asked Father William, Father Superior, you mean to say everything that God does is justified? Yes. Look at the sparrow, yes. The sparrow needs only 1 or 2 grains for its food, yes. But God has given it wings so that it can fly anywhere and amass any amount of grain. Yes. Look at the cow. Yes. The cow needs a lot of food, yes. But God has not given wings to the cow. How will you justify this? Father Superior, Father William, was floored. He didn't have an answer. In the evening, Father William went for his usual evening walk with the aspirants also trailing behind him. At that time, a crow a crow flew over them. And as crows are notorious, they did something which spoiled the dress of the young aspirant Father Tom. At that time, Father William asked Father Tom, "Now tell me, Father Tom, do you want God to give wings to the cow as well?" Even in the most perfect vision of God, there are skeptics and ascetics. There are people who doubt the wisdom of the vision. Therefore, I would say that the mind is important. Mind, which is the hub of vision, as Mr. Goel himself said. Yes, vision is important. For a leader, according to me, a perfect leader is one who combines perfectly vision with action. The mind is its own place and can make in itself a heaven of hell or a hell of heaven. That is why Browning says, "Grow old along with me. The best is yet to be." There is nothing called a perfect management science or art. We have to pursue the perfection is what a leader should do. Attainment of perfection is not his right. The pursuit itself is the exciting thing. The pursuit itself is a central point of success in management. And now, what should a manager do? Goel himself said, a manager's duty is to see that everyone is brought together. Yes, he should be able to reconcile opposites. That's very important. In fact, he should be able to see the relation between the part and the whole in any organization. There was in a farmhouse, the husband and wife, the farmer and his wife, they decided to buy a rat trap because there was a rat on the attic. The rats got scared. The rat went and told the hen, "See, they are plotting to buy a rat trap." The hen said, "None of my business. If a rat trap is there, that's your business. You take care." Then the rat went to the cow and said, "There is this danger of a rat trap coming into this house." The cow also said, "That's not my job. That's your concern." That night, a snake, a cobra, happened to fall in the rat trap. The farmer's wife went to see, thinking it's a rat which has fallen, but she was bitten by the cobra. Naturally, the doctor was rushed in, the village doctor. He came, a lot of visitors came, and to feed the visitors, the hen was killed to prepare chicken. Then it took a long time for her to undergo treatment. So he had to sell the cow to the butcher to make money for the treatment. So the cow is also gone. The only survivor in that house is a rat. So you may feel that it is not my concern, but a manager with vision, a leader with vision, he will be able to see what others do not see. He'll be able to hear what others do not hear. He should be able to listen to the sound of silence. A manager should be able to listen to the sound of silence. And that mere sight is not enough. Insight is more important for a leader. Insight. In Badrinath, Kedarnath temple, during season, a lot of visitors come. Hauling is done by the donkeys. Once when the head count was taken, one donkey was missing. There is sort of a muff which is around the temple, living with the pittance which others give him. He is not credited with any level of intelligence. Those who searched for the missing donkey, they thought that they can have some fun at the expense of this muff. He asked, "Okay, we could not trace the donkey. You will be able to do that." He said, "Okay, I can." After half an hour, this muff comes with the donkey. They asked all the leaders or the managers, "How did you do that?" He said, "Simple. I don't have much intelligence. I'm a muff. I thought like a donkey. So I could know what a donkey will want to do at this time. The donkey had gone to drink some water. So I traced it and got the donkey from there." So therefore, sight is not enough. Insight. A good leader should be insightful, and that is very important. Now, when we come to the management in government, I think that is perhaps an area where I have some experience for the last 45 years. What is the type of management in government? In government, procedure is more important than the performance. You need not produce results. Provided you go through the procedure, you are a good civil servant. In fact, I remember I was principal secretary to the chief minister of the state, Kerala. The chief minister was very keen that we should do something which is momentous, something which is memorable, something which is a landmark event for the tribal community as part of that project. So being his principal secretary, I called all the other secretaries and the collectors and the chief engineers. So many suggestions came. There was a young sub-collector with me. She's from Punjab. She said, sir, the best thing that can be done for the tribals is to hold a beauty contest among the tribal women. So many such suggestions came. The chief engineer said, sir, we should build a bridge over the river for the tribals because the tribals have to collect minor forest produce and bring it to the local market. Now, they have to swim across a turbulent river, especially in the hot sun. So, if a bridge is built across this river, that will be a very useful project for the tribals. So, everyone agreed. The bridge was sanctioned, 10 crores was the outlay. Then, as it normally happens in PWD, when the bridge was constructed, 30 crores was spent. The day of the inauguration came. The chief minister is there, the ministers are there, Panchayat member, MLA, MP, everybody is there. Media is there, the visual media. Goel's and Paul's team were there. Somebody asked, this bridge is meant for the tribals, but we did not see the tribal chief here. Everyone knew tomorrow that is going to be the banner headline. So, I being the secretary, I looked at the collector. The collector looked sharp at the Tahsildar. The Tahsildar looked darts at the village officer. The village officer went and got the tribal chief to equip him for the occasion, that is for the visual media. He was given a tunic and a wand was also given. The tribal chief looked like Ben-Hur stepping up from the annals of the Bible. The visual media asked him, tribal chief, this bridge is meant for the tribals. Do you like this bridge? The tribal chief, yes, very much. Why do you like it so much? In his simple way, he said, see, before this bridge was built, we tribals had to swim across a turbulent river in the hot sun. Now that the bridge is there, we can swim under the shade of the bridge. So this is a type of development, type of management, type of leadership, which you get in government service. Performance is not important. Procedure is more important than the performance. That is why when this nation is going to celebrate the 75th anniversary of its independence, we still have so many tribal bridges across this land. Management has got so many dimensions, which is dependent on the basic objective of management. Yes, there are certain things which people expect government to do. It is not enough. Alibi for inaction is not enough. People want action, not an alibi for inaction. People want the managers and government, public administrators to come up to their expectation and deliver. There is a story. I happen to be a student in the IAS Academy in Missouri. Now I'm a teacher, I'm a fellow there. And the Indian Military Academy is in Dharat. There is a lot of goodwill and bonhomie between these two institutions. But when we get an opportunity, we start pulling each other's legs, which always happens, between Cambridge and Oxford, it is there. Everywhere it is there. So one dig, which is young cadets speak about us, give to us in the IAS is that there is this tale which is very common or prevalent or popular among the military officers. That is about a stern IAS chief secretary. They say that the chief secretary went for an excursion, a takeoff for a day. He was driving his own car, and finally the car broke down deep inside a village. There was a farmhouse. The chief secretary was driving the car. He went to the farmhouse, knocked on the door, it was night, and asked the lady of the house, this is what happened. Now I cannot reach the city. Would you permit me to stay in this house? The lady said, I have no objection. I'll be most happy. But one thing is that, my husband is not here today. So he said, doesn't matter. I'm a chief secretary, dignified person. Okay. And see, there is only one bedroom here. That's okay. See, I'm a chief secretary, very dignified person. She said, there is only one court here. That's okay. I'm a chief secretary, dignified person. So he was admitted. The night passed without any incident. The next day, the lady took him around and showed him her farmhouse and went to the poultry shed. And she said, I have 10 roosters and 10 hens. Then the chief secretary said, why? Why 10 roosters for 10 hens? One rooster is enough. And she said, well, there is only one rooster. The other 9 are chief secretaries. So when people expect action, don't give an alibi for inaction. That is what is happening in the management in government. There is now a semblance of corporatization in government as well. I think this interface should be there. It is whether it is a public sector or the private sector. What the people need is a success sector. Therefore, a manager, the ultimate objective of a manager is to succeed, not at any cost. He has to succeed ethically and also in a steady manner. And when it comes to serving the people, of course, we have the corporate social responsibility. Corporate social responsibility is not confined to that one particular project alone. Every manager should have a sense of responsibility to the people. See, I had a principal, a priest, Father Papias. Father Papias was a stickler for cleanliness. One day, he retired, naturally. Being a priest, he was sent to the church in Sagar, North India, Sagar Exarchate. On the way to the church, Father Papias saw a donkey lying dead on the road, usual sight in some cities in India. He, being a stickler for cleanliness, he rang up the municipal commissioner, a young IAS officer, and told him a donkey is dying dead on the road. Please make arrangements to bury it. This upstart IAS officer told the priest, burial of the dead is the duty of the priest, not to be undone by him or outwitted by this young upstart officer. Father Papias said, yes, burial of the dead is the duty of the priest. I will certainly make arrangements to bury the dead donkey. But before that, I thought I should inform its nearest relatives. That is why I called you. Yes, whenever it comes to social commitment, this is what we see around us. A manager should always have a social commitment, and he should be able to instill the social commitment in the team around him. And as it is said, when the going gets tough, the tough gets going. That, I think, is the sum total of quintessence of the success of management. In India, we have excellent managers. We have excellent professionals. There are professionals without professionalism. That, I think, is the curse of India. Some people said in some organizations, particularly the public sector, there is a number one and under him a few number 10s. I think we should be able to groom up the organization. That relationship building the next generation is very important in leadership qualities. A leader is certainly one who knows the way, who goes the way, who shows the way. And the success of an organization, the success of the leadership qualities of a manager or a leader depends on how he succeeds in coming together is beginning, keeping together is progress, working together is success. Whether as a leader, if you are able to bring the people together, keep them together, and make them work together, success is theirs. I am sure that the insightful comments which are going to come from the experts in this field will certainly lighten up today's discussion. And this is the beginning of a great initiative by the Global TV, particularly its chairman, Mr. Paul, and of course, its all in all, Mr. Goel. Sure that many students will get motivated, many youth will certainly get motivated. As they say, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with one step. Let this be the first step of the journey of 1,000 miles. With all your permission, I am glad to declare this as formally inaugurated. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. C.V. Anand Bose, for inaugurating our two leadership series, and your wisdom, what you have given, the thoughts full of wisdom, will definitely things to be heard, viewed several times by the young generation. What you have told today, I'm sure this type of quality of a leader, if we will have, if the world will have, definitely lots of changes can come, as you have mentioned, and you have given all the details of the leader, what quality, with the examples. Few are very, very examples which one can think that it's a comedy, full of comedy, but they are very, very meaningful. And that is what a true leader quality is required. And that's why these new series which have come out is to showcase the quality of the leaders to the public at large, and especially the youth. And I'm sure with the launch of today's program, these two series, although these two series have already taken off informally for almost a month now, but the formally launching is today. So we are very, very thankful to you for inaugurating and launching our two leadership series. Thank you very much, Dr. C.V. Anand Bose.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now I would like to invite a guest of honors of today's program, and he is Professor Dr. P. Subramania. Professor Dr. P. Subramania is the Honorable Vice Chancellor of Mangalore University. He is having more than 3 decades of experience in teaching, research, and administration. He did his MCom from Mangalore University in 1982, securing first rank with gold medal. Professor Dr. P. Subramania obtained PhD degree from Mangalore University in 1992 in the area of consumer behavior. He worked as professor, trainer, and consultant. He published 46 research papers in national and international journals of repute. He did postdoctoral research at Nottingham Business School, Nottingham Trent University, England, on HRD policies and practices. Professor Dr. P. Subramania also did a cross-national study of India and Britain under the Commonwealth Fellowship Scheme during 2001-2. He received an international award entitled eLearn International Award 2003 from Scotland, UK, for his best research paper on trends and status of corporate e-learning and Indian experience. He also received the prestigious Devang Mehta National Award for Best Teacher in Human Resource Management in November 2009. Professor Dr. P. Subramania is down to earth, ready to listen, and eager to implement. Welcome, Professor Dr. P. Subramania, on our show. Professor Dr. P. Subramania, today the occasion is such that we are looking for those leaders who can change the scenario which is happening today in the world, and especially in India. And the main thing what one can say is the media, because media is the mouthpiece of any leader or any visionary. And if media is doing their duties perfectly, then the qualities of leader or the visionaries can be showcased to everyone. Unfortunately, in India, many of, I will not say all, but many of the medias have failed to do these duties. I am sure the new series which has been launched by Global TV in Hindi and English will try to give that positive aspect of the visionaries, of the leaders to the public at large, so that at least some change can come in the society. And in this way, as you have already heard what Dr. C.V. Anand Bose have spoken, and now we would like to know from you your views and your wisdomful thoughts on the launch of leadership series. Professor Dr. P. Subramania, please.
Yes, good morning to all of you. It's a media conference with Lal Goel is always with a different touch and impact. That's my experience. There is no imposition of ideas, free and frank views being exchanged between Lal Goel and the distinguished panelists without any fear or favor. So it means Lal Goel's media conference is always following a wonderful golden principle that is nothing but principle-centered leadership. Principle-centered leadership is always superior because it is focusing only on the issues and not on the people or the parties. It's very impartial, and it gives and creates a kind of a level playing field to everyone being involved in the discussions. Just now, we were carefully listening to Dr. C.V. Anand Bose candid views based on his lived-in experience. It's highly inspiring, thought-provoking, and highly absorbing in nature. Similarly, we have got Dr. Mukesh Sharma ji, Professor Dr. Oman Memon, and Mr. Tom Syriac. They're all wonderful people I have ever come across because they have proved their mettle in their own domains of expertise. This launch of leadership series is being characterized by 7 unique features according to me. The first one is authentic, because authenticity should be the hallmark of any such series. It is authentic, it means it's very genuine. The second one is it is impactful. It creates a kind of impact in the hearts and minds of all viewers with a sense of purpose, pride, and direction. The third one is it's insightful because you can dig into the deeper shell to know more and more about the less and less of those things that matter to us as leaders in our own field. The fourth one is it's highly inspiring because our job is to inspire people to stretch their capacity, to visualize. It means we must be able to envision, empower, enable, energize, enthuse, educate, enlighten, and then only they can excel and engage themselves in the task of turning out better things than the best. That kind of thing is highly inspiring. Then it is powerful endorsement value. This leadership series has got what you call inbuilt flexibility and also the value of powerful endorsement, as powerful as the medical endorsement, because it is being interacted with what you call the experienced people who will always endorse their views based on their lived-in experience. Then the next one is it is highly absorbing because it is never a harder nut to crack. It is being presented in a very, very meaningful, effective, and very simple manner. It can reach the larger audience in a very highly befitting manner. Therefore, it is highly absorbing in nature. Then finally, the seventh one is it is thought-provoking because it can ignite the real thing. We can definitely connect the plug so that electricity will flow, because all these ideas are really wonderful. So based on my own experience in my field, particularly in the education sector, I can tell you that leadership and followership are just like two sides of the same coin. One without the other is totally meaningless and atrocious. As a matter of fact, a leader must be in a position to influence the followers both constructively and positively. And leader must be a confessor, a wonderful confessor. As David Ogilvy talked about the confessions of an advertising man, he was very down to earth because you must own up the process and ideas. You cannot pass the buck to somebody else. Be a powerful confessor, then you should be a sounding board. After your followers commit certain grave mistake, there is no point in talking about it. There is no point in romanticizing about it. Much before they commit that mistake, you must act as what you call a sounding board. Therefore, they'll be having a kind of precaution, they'll be having a sixth sense, and you will be serving as a sounding board. Then I understand leader is always the first among equals. As the Vice Chancellor of Mangalore University, I am always fond of saying that as Vice Chancellor, I am only first among equals. This will spread a good word in the hearts and minds of my followers, my team members, because then only I can practice what you call my own style of leadership, that is democratic, participative, consultative, and inclusive. And I must always lead from the front. I should be a risk taker. It means I must be able to take a very planned, careful, mature risks so that I can make things happen. So it means in any environment, in order to bring about leadership effectiveness, three things are very, very important. I call them what you call three-legged stool. One is the individual as a leader with all leadership attributes or qualities. Second one is the quality and maturity of the followers. The third one is the situation. Sometimes leadership is nothing but the child of the circumstances. So it means it's a three-legged stool. Leadership effectiveness is nothing short of a three-legged stool: individual, followers, and the situation. And the philosophical or the spiritual side of leadership is nothing but do good anyway. In order to do good anyway, you must be intrinsically good in the first instance. Then only you can do good things in your life. So it means you as a leader, you need not do great things according to me, but you must be able to get people to do extraordinary things. That must be your leadership skill, or that kind of ambience we need to create. It means, according to me, change is not important. Sometimes we do bring about change only in some pockets of excellence. What we require is transformation. Transformation is several changes brought about in a parametrical manner so that you can maintain the kind of equilibrium which will definitely make things happen. Ultimately, it is not planning which will bring about leadership success. What I mean to say is that execution excellence makes a lot of difference. You have to plan, then do, then check or monitor, then you have to take remedial or corrective measures, remedial action. So plan, do, check, action must be supported by your willingness to execute things in a very meaningful, timely, and effective manner. I have come across 5 categories of people in this world. First category, those people who make things happen. A leader will always belong to this category. The second category, I call them intellectual category. Those people who think that they make things happen. Thinking is not doing. The third category, those people who watch things happen. I call them sightseeing category. The fourth one is those people who wonder what it happened. It's incredible here. It's amazing. So this kind of amazing will not take you anywhere. The last category, normally I come very heavily on such people, those people who did not even know what had happened. Then as a leader, I have also come across some 4 categories of performers in my 4 decades of experience in this education sector. The first category of performer is those, I call them super keepers. They will always exceed our expectations. The second category, I call them keepers, who will just match our expectations. Nothing more, nothing less. The third category, they are called solid citizens. Either they have got the capacity to perform, but they lack willingness to perform. Or they have got the willingness to perform, they lack the capacity to perform. Either of them is missing. But they have got the potential. Our job is to unleash their potential, unlock their potential. If there is capacity is missing, there should be capacity enhancement, capacity building. If there is willingness is lacking, we have to induce them, inspire them, motivate them. Somehow we have to win over their hearts and minds. So it means solid citizens are there. Then the last category, I call them misfits. They are mediocre people. They are not in a position to make the best use of opportunities available, because as a good performer, super keeper will always create opportunities rather than chasing the available opportunities. Today, a performance-centric leader is always focusing on what you call outcome-based performance. outcome-based assessment. It is not the output. It is not spending hours together. It is not even burning midnight oil. It is not the hard work, but what makes a leader different is the smart work. Smart means, again, SMART, specific, measurable, achievable or attainable, relevant, and timely. So ultimately, the philosophy of leadership must be based on three critical ingredients. The first one is commonality of interest or the identity of interest. What is good for you is also good for me. What is good for me is also good for you. What is good for both of us must be good for our institution. That is identity of interest. Second one is mutual trust, confidence, and goodwill. The third one is shared vision and determination to excel. Because ultimately, as a leader, I feel my two eyes are nothing but one is transparency, the other one is accountability. Because today, when we are creating leadership in our youth, we focus on global competencies and multicultural outlook. That's very, very important, because sometimes we have to swim in troubled waters, because today what we experience is white water syndrome. Turbulence is there, because unless there are challenges, there is no excitement for the leader. And a leader must always understand the big picture. Otherwise, you will suffer from what you call tunnel vision. You will not be able to see the light at the end of the tunnel. That means we must always expect the unexpected, be an achiever, but you cannot be a winner all the time. Sometimes we must be prepared to lose the game so that we can learn from our mistakes, because ultimately sustaining leadership effectiveness is very, very important according to me. The biggest problem or the challenge is problems repeat, but solutions seldom repeat. And two enemies are there for a able leader. The first one is arrogance. I am the great, I can do it because I am the only one person on this mother planet, Earth. So it should go away. Egolessness is very, very important. I am only a zero. That kind of thing, that is arrogance. You must eradicate this number one enemy, arrogance. Second enemy of excellence is what you call complacency. Enough is enough. Chalta hai, chalne do. This kind of attitude, complacent attitude, will kill your leadership instinct. Then, as a leader, I must be able to have what you call courage to fail, confidence to win, and the conviction to succeed. And I must demonstrate what you call purity in heart and clarity in mind. Then only I will be able to demonstrate my genuine intentions through appropriate and timely actions. That is what I understand. A clear vision inspires, builds trust, and gets results only when executed well. Therefore, normally as a leader, I listen to what people don't say. That's very, very important. It means I must always listen to my inner voice, and I must carefully watch my inner ethical compass for seeking future directions. Then as a philosophy, I understand 1% improvement in 100 different ways is always better than 100% improvement only in one way. Therefore, I have to be pragmatic. Then normally I am inspired by the famous prayer of Napoleon Nimber. It says, "Oh God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference." It means I should keep my windows and my doors open. Let noble thoughts come from all sides, but see that winds blowing from all sides should not unseat you. Be yourself. That means you will be a leader with a difference. So ultimately, that is what doing right things rightly first time and every time. We should be a role model. It means we should walk the talk, and we must always be a cheerleader. And unless we have got a passion for excellence, we cannot demonstrate the intended leadership effectiveness. That is what I wanted to say. I wish the best of luck for this launching of a new leadership series. It will succeed. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you very much, Professor Dr. P. Subramania, for your wisdomful blessings, I must say, for this new leadership series. And what Professor Dr. P. Subramania has explained, the quality of leadership, how he has seen with his 4 decades of experience in the education. He has seen how the things are required in a leader to control and to see that things properly to be executed, not only just a thought or not just a planning. One has to be a leader's quality is to see to it that it should be ultimately executed. And we must confess today that we are trying our best. The global TV is trying best. Mr. Tom is trying his best to execute what things we, the society and the leaders like you expect from the media. We are sure that we will try and we will see to it that these things can come in ourselves. As you have mentioned, that we all should consider ourselves as a zero, not a hero. Thank you very much, Professor Dr. P. Subramania, for giving your very, very thoughtful, I must say, and very full of wisdom and full of practical knowledge which you have imparted today. Thank you very much. Now I would like to invite the person who is in the field of media for so long. And today he is our keynote speaker. He is none other than Dr. Mukesh Sharma. Dr. Mukesh Sharma is the former Director General of Films Division of India and also the former Additional Director General of Doordarshan, working for the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting for the Government of India. Dr. Mukesh Sharma has been in the TV broadcast industry since 1992. He won the Best DD Kendra Award in 2001. Dr. Sharma was instrumental in changing the fortunes of DD Mumbai and was the #1 regional Marathi Kendra in the country for a number of years. Dr. Sharma is the recipient of several national and international awards for the work done in the film and broadcasting industry. He also holds a PhD in journalism and mass communications. Dr. Sharma is currently the Dean with the School of Branding and Advertising with NMIMS University, Mumbai. Dr. Sharma has started Hindi Kahaniyon Ka Anokha Andaz recently, where he is narrating a story in 3 to 4 minutes. But those stories are full of lessons, meaningful, which gives a thought for the people, food for thought, so that those small stories can also change the lives, which is required today, especially for the young generation. Thank you very much, Dr. Mukesh Sharma, for accepting our invitation and to be the keynote speaker of today's program. You being in this industry for so long, you have seen ins and outs in this industry. And although we are quite new in this industry and we are trying our best to do something in a positive way, but definitely we would like to hear from you, your views on this auspicious occasion of launch of leadership series. Dr. Mukesh Sharma, please. Please unmute.
Thank you, Lal Goelji. Thank you very much. And I must compliment Professor Subramaniam and Dr. Bose for the wonderful speech, motivating. And I'm sure listeners who are hearing those speeches will find it absorbing, will find it something which they can take home. Today's topic, which I've been asked as a keynote speaker, so a lot of people now, especially the millenniums and the new generation, knows about the commercial broadcasting. People have forgotten public service broadcasting. So I prepared a paper for today, especially the need for public service broadcasting. Why do we need that broadcasting more now than what we needed yesterday or earlier? So I'll start with my paper. Television is a uniquely influential medium. It has tremendous capacity to mobilize or influence public opinion. The power of television lies in its value as a common reference point for millions of people. Television can unite us, yes, just as it can divide us. We as citizens can be united through public service broadcasters, endeavors, or divided through niche marketings of hundreds of commercial channels. For the last 60 years in India, the public service broadcasting, or I would call it now the PSB, centered on the nation state and on the state controlled media. Both Doordarshan and AIR not only acted as the custodians of national culture, they have also seen it as their job to provide a universal service. And these public broadcasters have been providing programs for schools and farmers, health and hygiene, literacy and education, along with information and entertainment. No doubt, these programs were not well made as per today's yardstick, but they reflected a perceived state responsibility towards all citizens. On the other hand, with the advent of private broadcasters, the role of the state has diminished. The trend in TV programs content has changed so much and so drastically that it does not reflect the Indian reality anymore. While cable and satellites have increased the viewing options tremendously, they have failed to offer a better and a richer choice of TV content. Realistically, they have promoted increasing fragmentation of the television audience. They have raised serious concern about purpose, orientation, taste, and decency. Say, out of the 900 odd TV channels what we have in India today, nearly 45% are TV news channels. And role of these TV news media broadcasting in a democracy has number of overlapping functions, but distinctive. One is to inform and educate, to make intelligent decisions about public policy. People need accurate, timely, and unbiased information. And the second function is to serve as a watchdog over elected government representatives as well as powerful institutions in the society. By holding to a standard of independence and objectivity, the new broadcasting media can expose the truth behind the claims of the government and hold public officials accountable for their actions. Sadly, yes, sadly, TV news media in India has more reach but less credibility now. Travelization, glamorization, and sensationalism are the buzzword in today's parlance. The media barons have the dreadful combination of influence and affluence. More than 50 years ago, George Orwell, the author, he wrote the bestseller 1984. That classic novel depicted with a fair amount of accuracy that events that were to unfold in the present era. In fact, the thought control capacities of the powers that be has gone much beyond the Orwellian fancies and fantasies. And we have been so conditioned by it that we take it for granted and believe in his slogan. What he said was, ignorance is strength. Ignorance and inborn antipathy to any external pressure on one's inclination to speak and write, that which one pleases, are often responsible for a blind resistance to any law, customs, tradition, or norms. Human beings, being what they are, liberty frequently degenerates into license and creativity into perversity. And then society itself becomes a cesspool of corrupt practices and pursuits. Tempering checks and constructive directions are necessary to preserve and promote decent values, robust creativity, and healthy growth. Today, actually, TV journalists are using the hit and run method in the race to capture the market. Air pilots you can sack for one mistake. A railway man can lose his job for sleeping on duty, and doctors can lose the confidence of their patient if they mess up an operation. However, a journalist, by contrast, can actually get by with a small correction on page 19 to a news item that which was plastered across page 1. And a TV channel could simply pull off a wrong story without so much as an apology, in the sanguine belief that viewers' memory is ridiculously short. In the midst of all these TV news, media trials could deny anyone a fair trial. There is this question of admission, authenticity, and the issue of privacy. Do such trials amount to public service? It is a question to be introspected by the TV news media itself. Hitting at a celeb is easy, as he cannot hit back. Adding insult to the injuries are unethical and unjust sting operations because they are staged. Entrapping and luring people to commit crime through monetary inducement is prohibited worldwide. But no such laws exist in India, and the private news broadcasters have started using sting operations as an easy option to boost viewership events. The TV news media screams for a code of conduct for others, yes, but has no Lakshman Rekha for itself, as it plays God and decides for its own selfish end who will be destroyed and who will be glorified. So, in all this confusion, what is the relevance of public service broadcasting in the multi-commercial TV channel era? Well, in India, the concept of public service broadcasting centered on the nation state and the state control media. So the nation state was India and the state control was the AIR and DD. With the establishment of Prasar Bharati in 1990, a true public service broadcaster was born. Yes, the mission and objectives of Prasar Bharati as a public broadcaster were also very clear. Yes, on one hand, it had to resist the temptation of the commercial market. On the other, the corporation has to resist the power of political pressure and patronage. Then what was the mandate of Prasar Bharati? Well, the Shunu Sen Review Committee reported on working of Prasar Bharati, which was published by the INB Ministry, and which suggested to adopt it also. And the report said, and I quote, Prasar Bharati will aim to provide in the most efficient manner possible media content of the highest quality that will empower and enlighten the citizens of India and audiences outside the country through original and relevant programs which inform, educate, and entertain while ensuring a seizable audience and reach. Sadly, yes, very sadly, Prasar Bharati has failed miserably in its efforts to empower and enlighten the citizen of India, as the viewers are not interested in the substandard and poorly made content. However, what is the relevance of public service broadcasting today? Well, a division between commercial broadcasting and public broadcasting has clearly emerged. Public broadcasting primary purpose is to public service in simple language, and commercial broadcasting is obviously business seeking and maximizing profits. For public broadcaster, the ambition is to succeed in innovation, in refreshing the pool of homegrown programs, in accurately reflecting and stimulating the public mood and taste. Perhaps the best medicine is to make sure that the public service broadcasters, those who put the public interest first, those who are committed to sustaining a creative, non-derivative production base, are properly supported, properly sustained, and properly funded. In the end, the public interest will remain very much the same as it is now. So, what is the mandate for such broadcasting, for such public service broadcasting? Public service broadcaster must be concerned about a broader set of clientele and has a much larger mandate. It has to meet the complete media needs of all, including those of a villager who has a very few media options. Such a person is either watching the Doordarshan or listening to radio on community set. The public service broadcasting also needs to take into account the media needs of the minority audience, whether they may be ethnic, religious, or linguistic. Such a broadcaster needs to concern itself with developing taste, spreading literacy and development, and picks up issues that our commercial broadcasters will rarely address. In a TV interview with me, a filmmaker, Pankaj Parashar, who had made a lot of Bollywood films, said, and I quote, "Whatever TV channels which is private are owned by shareholders or owned by Australian or Chinese or whomsoever comes into India will obviously have their own axe to grind. They are not here because they want, because they like India, but they are here because they want to make money," unquote. Now, let's look at the key characteristic of public service broadcasting. And these characteristics, I'm not saying I'm picking up from the voices they have said about it. Karan Karnik, the former president of NASCOM, what he described, and I quote, "To me, one of the key characteristics of public service broadcasting is that it maintains and enlarges the space that exists between viewing commercial broadcasting on the one end of the spectrum and the government-run propaganda on the other. So it's independent of both government and market. And enlarging that space, which you might call that space for civil society, is one of the key roles of public service broadcasting," unquote. Now let's see, we come back finally to what is the need for such broadcasting. Well, a simple answer could be that AIR and DD are a historical reality and already the largest broadcasting network in the world. Therefore, there is no point in questioning their existence. Such a proposition, however, does not lend meaning to the existence and identity of an organization. An organization, sir, cannot grow and excel if it exists only because of its historical accident. For any living and vibrant organization, there must be a larger purpose, a larger mandate, and a larger mission. In order to do this, it is necessary to analyze whether commercial broadcasting can fulfill the objectives of public service broadcasting. In other words, in simple language, can market forces alone meet all the objectives of PSB? Well, late media person whom we lost recently, Anil Dharkar, had told me once, and I quote, "I don't think market forces can take care of public service broadcasting at all. Sharma, I'm quite definite about it, and I'm absolutely certain. And the reason for that is sustainable thing. It is a sustainable thing. We have seen all over the world. It is not. Any private company is going to be interested in the bottom line. Therefore, either it pays for itself or it doesn't. Even a multi-channel will not want to have cross subsidies. Left to market forces, it is possible that purely commercial broadcasting will not meet the full needs of the public service broadcasting." He further adds, "In a country like India, a PSB has a unique duty to address not the consumers but the citizens. And that is an important differentiation in a poor country because the two are not synonyms, unlike in the more Western or prosperous countries where the citizens and consumers are synonyms," unquote. I would add further, Ashok Mansukhani, a top media specialist with the Hinduja Group, he also shared his views on this. "The need of public service broadcasting have changed," he said. "Today, the levels of literacy are certainly higher than what they were 30 years ago, but the need of eradicating ignorance are equally important. Urbanization has not really made much of the differences when it comes to understanding what is in the nation interest and what is not in the nation's interest. And personally," he said, "I think public broadcasting has always to be the most integral element, and that is why Doordarshan must exist." So, What are the crucial function of this public broadcaster? Well, we viewers and we citizens have broad tastes, and we cannot be compressed into the neat categories of marketing where income and taste and choices are the determinist prison of the consumer market. There are classical dance fans, sir, among cricket fans, and vice versa. When channels proliferate, the mixed channel vanishes, and in its place, the specialist network, say the sports, the film, the news, the music, the wildlife, the shopping, etc., come alive, what we call the niche. Whereas the mixed network emphasizes what viewers have in common. I'm again repeating this, very important. The mixed network emphasizes what viewers have in common. The single issue channel emphasizes what separates them from others. We know what we gain from a single subject channel, a vast supply of, say, every single cricket match played. But what do we lose from that proliferation? A sense of sharing with others, a sense of being part of a collection of individuals who all through separate choices make up the mass television audience, and that sharing in the mass act of viewing becomes a valued social experience. Prem Sagar, you must have heard about, the son of legendary producer director Ramanand Sagar, and he was the maker of popular serial Ramayana on DD. He shares his experience and talks about the same thing, and I quote him: "What happened during Ramayana is a legend, weaving like a garland in the whole nation. Whether it was Tamil Nadu, one jewel, or Assam, another jewel, or Kashmir, all the pulse right from Maharashtra to Gujarat were weaved to make garland which was put on India." And I also spoke to another gentleman, a retired additional DG of Doordarshan, Mr. Tatari. He said there is absolutely no doubt about it that people do need entertainment, but at the same time, they need a lot of information, which is useful to them. And on this point, the private channels really are not helping them at all. This help can be given by the channels which is serving the people, which is serving the public. And this way, if we look at rural programming, if we look at the educational programming, if you look at the programs which informs people about various laws which are being enacted by the government, you don't have to be sort of a bhopu for the government and he uncourse that. You don't have to really do top-down about the government. You can do so many things as a public broadcaster. So public service broadcasters therefore have a crucial function to discharge. Free from commercial pressures, they are free to address the full range of audience interests, not just those which are commercially the most attractive. The crucial fact is that the viewers of these minority programs, sir, are not some exceptional elites. They are the same people who also watch the soaps. Well, we all want wider choices at some point of viewing week, and public service broadcasting is providing these programs. Although all of us enjoy the most popular program for much of the time, but very few of us want them all the time. And research shows, I'm not saying that by and large, the public want to spend 2/3 of the time watching undemanding entertainment fare, but want to watch something more challenging for the other 1/3. Commercial television schedules are prepared to achieve volume, and in doing so, the range of the program is severely restricted. So can we say that public service broadcasting is the key to our democracy? Well, this fact was confirmed when I spoke to Dr. Raghunath Mashelkar. And I quote, "Public service broadcasting is not only a key to our democracy, but that's an engine which can keep the democratic process going. And after all, what is democracy all about? It is for every citizen of India to not only his rights, but is also to ensure that he is able to exercise those rights. And for that, the content of information, data, knowledge that has to be provided to him," unquote. It is the duty of the public service broadcaster to ensure that the important public service messages like missing person reports, appeal for blood donations, reschedules of arrival, departures of train timetables, important information regarding AIDS, vaccinations, etc. are given to the public. The public broadcasters gives valuable airtime for this purpose in spite of there being no revenue earned. Public service broadcasting has been built on the principle that public service television is free at the point of use. There is no reason why this principle should be abandoned. So then we come finally, important is what is the source of funding for such broadcaster. There are certain regulations for the user of surface transport. If you see, there is a lane for a cyclist if you are on the road. There is a pedestrian use the subway, and the motorist uses the fast lane. And the heavy vehicles have their lanes earmarked. Now, in this manner, nobody is infringing on the other space. But see, interestingly, if this does not happen, then we can see chaos on the road, cacophony. In the absence of clear-cut funding mechanism, the broadcasting industry seems to be actually like that, free for all. Now, see, a pay channel, in spite of collecting subscription fee from the viewer, also broadcasts advertisement. He has no business to do so. In India, a free-to-air channel collects subscription money and also clusters the program content with advertisements. Sometimes it seems that the program is sprinkled in between the continuous stream of advertisements. Ideally, the public service broadcaster should have independent source of funding, if you ask me, without any string attached. At present, the scene in this sector is too chaotic. Some monies come by the way of selling airtime and some from the government to compensate the deficit. So how do we fund public service broadcasting? In the global scenario, if you see, there is clearly no single perfect funding mechanism for public broadcasting. but they do need a secure and reliable funding in order to survive in the commercial market. In the current scenario, public broadcasting worldwide is surviving on a combination of funding. In some cases, it is license fee. In others, it is license fee and ad revenue. In some cases, the public broadcasting is being funded through license fee and revenue, sponsorship, and public and private funding. It's a combination. Now, it is evident from all the above that it is difficult to say which funding model is ideal for public service broadcaster. However, the success and failure of the model could depend on the national values and traditions of a country and on the media market opportunities available. No single universal model can be recommended across the globe. Also, every country keeps in mind its own strengths and weaknesses, its opportunities and threats, which system would need to adopt on its own model. In the Indian scenario regarding funding, well, in case of Prasar Bharati, the only national service broadcaster, following would be the ideal mechanism, and which I have told them long time back, and that is license fee. This system of funding was prevalent till 1985 for both radio and television when they were separate. They were not under Prasar Bharati on the receiver side. Since it was difficult to collect the license fee, the same was abolished. In today's context, license fee can be collected with the help of any government agency. For example, the citizens can pay monthly or annual license fee on television sets, either along with telephone bill or electricity bill. In return, the government agencies can deduct normal service charges and deposit the remaining amount in Prasar Bharati's fund. People who do not own a TV set can simply give an affidavit to that effect. Okay, well, because the annual television license fee is charged to all British households, let me tell you. The BBC is dependent on that. And companies and organizations using any type of equipment to receive or record live television broadcasts are paying to BBC. Now, I don't want to go take your time, just want to quickly compare both the broadcasting, the public service broadcasting and the commercial broadcasting. PSB is policy motivated, commercial is profit motivated. PSB enhances the quality of public life, empowers individuals and social groups to participate more fully and equally. CB, yani commercial broadcasting, does not have any specific mandate since it's answerable to shareholders. Number 3, PSB caters to the citizen, commercial broadcasting to the consumers. PSB's main aim is to reach largest possible audience most effectively. Commercial broadcasting only interested in eyeballs and large audience. PSB aims to touch people, to move them, to change them. CB aims to put them in mood to consumer. PSB free of charge to the end user. CB or commercial broadcasting recurring expenses to the end user. PSB is free from commercial pressure. It can address the full range of audience interest. However, commercial pressure limits are there in commercial broadcasting. Public broadcasting can give misprogramming content and it unites the audience. However, CB's niche programming content fragmented the audience. And last but not the least, the PSB credibility quotient is high as it presents a fair and a balanced flow of information of national and regional issues without advocating any opinion or ideology of its own. However, in commercial broadcasting, credibility quotient is not high since it advocates or opinion or ideology of the group to which it belongs. And finally, I will sum up a part of the 1995 Supreme Court judgment on the importance of the airwaves and where do we stand today. There is no doubt, and I am starting with what they quoted in the Supreme Court. There is no doubt that since airwaves frequencies are a public property and are also limited, they have to be used in the best interest of society. And this can be done either by a central authority, by establishing its own broadcasting network, or regulating the grant of licenses to other agencies, including private agencies. What is further, the electronic media is the most powerful media, both because of its audiovisual impact and its widest reach covering the section of the society where the print media does not reach. The right to use the airwaves and the content of the program, therefore, needs regulation for balancing as well to prevent monopoly of information and views relayed, which is a potential danger flowing from the concentration of the right to broadcast telecast in the hands of either a central agency or with a few affluent broadcasters. That is why the need to have a central agency representative for all sections of the society, free from control, both of the government and the dominant influence section of society. That is what is the ideal way of you look at PSB or public service broadcasting. Now, this paper, when I was writing, I'm only addressing the television broadcasting. I'm not addressing the digital medium, which is an added thing, which is through the OTT platforms, what we are receiving. That's another way, because media is now humongous. We cannot just say that it's only television today. But yes, a public service broadcaster like BBC, like Australian Broadcasting Corporation, even in America, they have been able to identify their position, they have been able to identify their place, and they have been doing the programming in such a fashion. I would end up my paper here. Thank you so much, Lal Goelji. Once again, congratulations. And the series, I think it will go places. And I'm sure with such, good experts you have. You're taking people who can really bring out a change in the society through your medium. Thanks a lot. Once again, congratulations, sir.
Thank you very much, Dr. Mukesh Sharma, for giving the details, the difference between public broadcasting and commercial broadcasting. And we will try, the Global TV Media Conference with Lal Goel will definitely try to fulfill the expectation what you are having from this leadership series. Thank you very much, Dr. Mukesh Sharma. Because of the paucity of time, I have to invite now my next guest, and he is Professor Dr. Oommen Memon. Professor Dr. Oommen Memon is MBA, MPhil, PhD. Professor Memon is the former Dean, Nepunya School of Management. He is the COO of Ellen and Harbour Kottayam. He has done his PhD in management from Utrecht University, Amsterdam, Netherlands. He is the visiting professor of Illinois University, USA, and University of Lund, Sweden. He is the resource person of Faculty Development Program, trainer, management consultant. He is having 42 years of experience in corporate and academics, 17 years in academics and 25 years in teaching. His specialized area is spiritual intelligence in management. Welcome, Professor Dr. Memon, on our show. Professor Dr. Oommen Memon, you have heard our earlier chief guest, the guest of honor, as well as the keynote speaker. Now, we would like to know from you your views about this launch of leadership series. Professor Dr. Oommen Memon, please.
Thank you, Mr. Goel. I was listening very keenly to all my fellow panelists. They went in depth. I think I may get another time to speak in length and breadth about the leadership series, maybe. I must congratulate you and Mr. Paul, Global TV, and Mr. Goel for such a wonderful program, because it is not an easy job. It's not an easy job to organize 365 episodes, participating around 5,000 resource persons at different times. It's not an easy job. Now you have added one more feather to your cap. That is a leadership series. I know definitely Mr. Tom Surik will be there pioneering the program. I think when you go about the leadership series program, definitely you are going to deal with the kind of leadership, the attributes of leadership. And I feel I must say, we have to develop a generation who can stand up on a table and say, Your Highness, the King, you are naked. Your Highness, you are naked. That kind of boldness must be there with our young generation. Unfortunately, Dr. Mukesh, I don't know, he may disagree with me, or maybe he may agree with me, that the media currently is biased. Currently it is biased and it is being paid. And whatever information, for the last so many days, I have not read a single paper, journal. I have not watched any broadcast, any kind of electronic or internet media, because it all brings in negative impacts, negative impacts. So I don't want to, because we can't trust who is right, who is wrong. Casually, you mentioned the cocktail of new coronavirus is coming in. I know it was somebody just made some kind of a casual remarks, but no, it again creates some sort of an impact in your mind. So we have to be purely based on unbiased journalism. That is what we are looking at. So far, Global TV is unbiased. Mr. Goel is also unbiased, and it is moving very well. I just want to make one short example, that is of the Golden Bridge of USA. Is the largest hanging bridge of the world, made out of 2,750 millimeter thickness wires. such 27,750 such wires hang the bridge. In an hour, around 1,000 cars, 1,000 cars is driven. Whenever the cars are moved, there is a little kind of shake, and the passengers may think, I again say, may think it is going to collapse. And the same thing with the Indian media also. We have, our democracy is built on a very strong foundation, suspended on strong strings. Maybe some of the people, short timers, may feel that, some of the pedestrians, some of the passengers may feel that it is going to collapse down. Never. Never, it is not going to collapse at all. The media has got its own role. So the new series is going to focus on unbiased leadership. Unbiased leadership, that is what we need now. Not a biased leadership, cooked up with the biased media. Thank you. I can make out it is 11:44:45. I'm up. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you very much, Professor Dr. Aman Mehmet, for keeping the time. Really, we assure you that the leaders, to those have been picked up, are unbiased, and I'm sure the way Mr. Tom is going to create and the magic in this series will be definitely things to watch. Thank you very much, Professor Dr. Oman. Now I would like to invite the person of the day today, and he is none other than Mr. Tom Sarek. Mr. Tom is the Vice President and Business Head, Auto Finance of the Bhavan International Group Holding, LLC, Sultanate of Oman, Muscat. The Bhavan International is a diversified group and business interest in various countries in Middle East and Africa. They are the leading distributors of major automotive brands in Middle East. Mr. Tom is having industry experience of 35 years of dealing in media, finance, and automobiles. He is also a distinguished Toastmaster. Toastmasters International is a non-profit organization engaged in supporting individuals in self-development in leadership and communication. So I would like to invite Mr. Tom, the person who is going to host the English leadership series. Mr. Tom Sarek, please.
Thank you, Mr. Goel, and my fellow panelist, Dr. Subramania, Dr. Mukesh Sharma, Professor any task, become a leader. It can be formal, it can be informal. In our society, every group of people will definitely have some leadership. If we take the smallest unit of our society, which is the family, family definitely has a leader. Similarly, any organization, formal or informal, has a leader. Any group of people taking any task forward will have to have a leader if the task is to be completed successfully. Nations have to have leadership, and good leadership is something, capable leadership is something which can take all these units forward in a very positive manner. Leadership is been there from the beginning of humanity, I presume, because we have, by the vision and mission of leaders from time immemorial. But formal leadership theories started emerging when the Industrial Revolution took place.
I think we are losing the connection of Mr. Tom. Mr. Tom, are you there?
Yes.
Your network is weak. Please go ahead. Please go ahead.
it is one of the most understood and misunderstood concepts. Now, when with the global TV, when we were thinking about launching a series, we thought about a program where we can interview people and get their life stories. But we felt it is good if we have a direction to that life stories. That's how we touched upon leadership as a series. Now, people like to hear stories because stories make us understand the concepts much better. So the idea is to get people who have done well in their life, who have shown leadership qualities, who have built up career as they have grown in the organizations or in the field in which they have worked. So when we share the stories, it can inspire people. So this inspiration is what we are looking at. So we would like to share the stories of people who have occupied positions, who have reached leadership positions in their career, in their area of work, in their area of expertise. And these stories should be able to inspire the youngsters. We only hope that people who listen to these stories will get inspired. At least a few will learn a few of the things and take it forward in their life. Because we know that many youngsters take leadership very seriously at this juncture. And it is a need of the hour. It's a need of our community, our society, not only in India, but of the whole world. Capable leadership can steer the world to be a better place to live. And I must appreciate and congratulate the chairman of Global TV, Mr. N.V. Paulos, who took the initiative to come up and steer this program forward. I'm happy and I'm very fortunate to be associated with this, because if we can inspire a few with the stories of people who have achieved leadership positions in their life, and everybody knows leadership is not an easy task. Many of times the leaders get stoned because the vision or the mission what they undertook was not liked by people, some of the people around, but then they go forward. People reach positions of leadership not by luck, but by sheer hard work. Their ability to have a vision and think positively as is what they have all been made leaders. So we hope and pray that this will inspire a few individuals and youngsters in their journey towards attaining leadership positions. Thank you once again, Mr. Goel, and we hope that more leaders will come forward and share their stories for the youngsters to get inspired. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Tom. Definitely more and more leaders will come and give their views with you. They will share their views with you, and definitely that will inspire the young generation. Thank you very much, and all the best for this leadership series in English by Mr. Chamsarik. And today's program, which has been live telecasted by V4 News, Global TV, V4 Stream, Malnadu TV India, News Gaon se Samvad Sarokar News. It was also shown live on Facebook and YouTube. And I have to give thanks to all who made us what we are today. My special thanks to Mr. Lakshman Kundar, Chairman and Managing Director of V4 Media. My thanks to News Gaon se, Samvad Sarokar News, Malnadu TV India. I will fail if not give thanks to Mr. N.V. Paulus, Chairman Global TV, for mentoring all of us in the field of media. And definitely all the best wishes to Mr. Tom Syrick. Thanks a lot. And I would like to thank Dr. C.V. Anand Bose IAS, Professor Dr. P. Subramania, Dr. Mukesh Sharma, Professor Dr. Oman Memon, and definitely Mr. Tom Syrick, for giving their very, very good wishes for this new series by Mr. Tom Syrick, the leadership series in English. Thank you all the viewers for watching this today's launch program of leadership series. Thank you all. Thank you very much.